Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking through the ultimate Christmas gift guide for the years 1990 to 2010. These are the most popular individual toys and consoles from each year. Now, as we all know, there's something really magical about Christmas presents, especially when you're a child getting to talk about this at school. Now, if you're a 90s or 2000s kid, you'll probably remember most, if not all, of the gifts on this list. But these are presents that defined our entire childhood. Now, if you're new to 90s and 2000s nostalgia, our actual ritual for Christmas presents started in like September, October time. Whereas in the UK, we'd go and grab a big chunky Argos catalogue. In the US, you'd probably go to Sears or Toys R Us. And you start circling all the gifts that you want in that catalogue, folding the pages down. And if you knew Santa wasn't real, you would leave it in a really subtly obvious place for your parents to have. Now, you've got to keep in mind that you had to use different coloured pens if you had older brothers and sisters that owned only one catalogue, and you had to colour code it, or at least we did in our household, to make sure our parents knew who wanted what. I'm still lucky enough to have some of the items on this list. So where I do, the physical items will be held in the video, and where I don't, we'll just be holding images above. So let's dive straight in and start with the year 1990. In 1990, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie was released. Now, if you're watching this from the US, you've got no idea how lucky you were as a 90s kid, because you used to get your movies, your TV series, your CD albums 9 to 12 months in advance of us in the UK. This is the perfect example. Your movie was released on the 30th of March 1990, and in the UK, the 23rd of November 1990, a whole 9 months later. Now, the great thing for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise was in the UK, it took us by storm. And it being released in November meant December was a perfect gift for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures. And that was the most popular gift of the year 1990. And we've got an honorary mention for the original Game Boy. The original Game Boy was released to Europe in 1990. However, as you can see a common trend in this video, it was actually released in 1989 to both Japan and North America, where it was the most popular toy of that year. So it's not the most popular toy of 1990, but it probably was up there in Europe against the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures. 1991 is a bit of a strange one because it's a strange gift to get in the winter, but the most popular toy of the year 1991 was the Super Soaker. Was it summer? Was it winter? We really didn't care. The Super Soaker was absolutely revolutionary. And I use this image of the Super Soaker in a lot of my only 90s and 2000s Kids Will Understand videos because it hits you right in the face with nostalgia. Today's kids really don't understand how revolutionary this product actually was. And in December, we'd be out there having water fights with all our friends, and it made the summer of 1992 absolutely iconic. Now, if you've watched a lot of nostalgia videos, you'd have heard the skizzy aquatic ambient sound, which is actually from the underwater level in Donkey Kong Country. Now, that was actually released on the SNES, which was the most popular gift of 1992. And yes, we know Donkey Kong Country wasn't actually released in 94, but SNES in 1992 just took over the world. It made gaming really, really mainstream, and it was the start of, in my eyes, it was the start of the revolution of gaming of the 90s. Home Alone 2 is one of the greatest Christmas films ever made. That's not even a debate, that's just a fact. And the film was actually released in 1992 in November in the US and in December in the UK. And there are so many iconic scenes where Kevin is using one toy in particular, which is a Talkboy. Now, Tiger Electronics released it in 1992, but it went mainstream in 1993 where the most units were sold, and it became the most popular toy that everyone got for Christmas in the year 1993. Now, if you're a 90s kid, you probably had this person as one of your early 90s childhood crushes, and that is Amy Jo Johnson, who played Kimberly Hart as the Pink Power Ranger. Special mention to Trini Khan and Rest in Peace, who played the Yellow Power Ranger, but these guys were some of our early childhood crushes, and the Power Rangers in general in 1994 were at peak popularity. What an unbelievable program and what a privilege to be able to watch this as a kid. To decide which Power Ranger I wanted to be at Halloween, just in general, was amazing. And at school, we all knew someone whose uncle or dad or auntie was a Power Ranger, or knew one of the Power Rangers or something like that. It was a really strange time to be at school during that period of time. But the action figures from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was the most popular toy of that year. In 1995, a games console was launched which transformed the way kids and teenagers gamed forever. It's one of the most iconic consoles ever made, and that was the PlayStation 1. Now, in its launch year, it actually sold 3.1 million units, which is absolutely insane because it was crazy expensive when it first launched. I was lucky enough to have one, but I didn't get one until 1997, a couple of years later, when the price had dropped a little bit. Now, it's a console that I wish I still had today. I actually got mine chipped. I'm sure a lot of you guys did as well. And as I got it chipped, about 6 months later, the games console completely broke, took it apart, tried to fix it, and it never actually returned into one unit again, and I had to throw it away. But the console itself was an absolute masterpiece. It was a work of art. It was something that is lost in today's gaming when you look at consoles launch. It's all just the same old. This was revolutionary. It was innovation at its finest. It was the 90s at its peak as well, in my opinion. What a console, 3.1 million units sold, and the most popular gift of 1995. As we head to 1996, I actually have one of the toys, so I can actually show it to you. But this is a double hit year because there were two toys which were neck and neck for the most popular gift of that year. Number one is Tickle Me Elmo. Now, it sold 1 million units and it just went viral. It was absolutely insane how viral this went, especially about social media. But the Tickle Me Elmo was one of the most iconic gifts of 1996. And the other was this. The Nintendo 64. In 1996, the Nintendo 64 was launched, and it gave us access to different games than what the PlayStation or the Sega Mega Drive could give us. It gave us Mario Kart on the N64, and it gave us, in my opinion, probably the greatest game ever made. It's my favorite game to play ever, and that's GoldenEye 007. Now, if you can name a better game than this, hit me in the comment section, because I struggle to find one which is actually better. And I understand some people might say Fortnite if you're from this era, or you might say Call of Duty. But in my, this is purely an opinion, the greatest game ever made, and one of the greatest consoles ever to be launched as well. There are many reasons why millennials are spending more time with their kids than any other generation before it. One reason in particular is in 1997, we were given a responsibility to look after a little digital pet. We had to clean up after it, we had to make sure it was fed, we had to make sure it had a good night's sleep, and that was called a Tamagotchi. Now, as 90s kids took this responsibility really seriously, to the point where you wake up in the middle of the night to make sure you would feed your Tamagotchi to keep it happy and to make sure it didn't lose its shit at you, and you all know the noise that I'm talking about that it made when it did. Now, I want to give a special mention in 97 to yo-yos, because yo-yos was a mad craze, probably like 95 to 98. It was like a kind of peak as well. So a lot of yo-yos were sold in 1997, but the Tamagotchi just edged it out. Now, this is a toy that I actually recently did a video on urban myths. So if you're interested in the urban myth of this toy, hit the link in the description and you'll find the video to urban myths, or just scroll through the playlist and you'll find it. But in 1998, the Furby was released and it sold 1.8 million units in its launch year. The Furby was a really, really interesting product. It was something that my brother actually got for one of his Christmas presents that year. He was lucky enough to have one. My memories of a Furby growing up was in the middle of the night, the Furby losing its shit and shouting some random crap out at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, scaring absolutely everyone in the household and waking everyone up. And it got to the point where we had to take the batteries out of it just to make sure it starts, because it wouldn't speak in the day, it would only speak in the night. Now, as we're approaching the end of the 90s, it would be really good to hear from you which Christmas year you felt was your favourite from 1990 to 1999. Now, it could be because you had some of the toys on this list, it could be because you've got something that you had that you feel like should be on this list. It'd be good to hear from you in the comment section. For me personally, I've got 2 years which were my favourite years. One is 1997. That was the year I got my PlayStation 1, and yeah, okay, I was a couple of years too late to the trend for sure, but I was one of 4 children in a 6-person household, and we had a 3-bedroom house in the northwest of the UK. So for me to have a PlayStation at all, I had so much gratitude for that because of how expensive they were. My parents got me Tekken 3, they got me F1 97, they got me Duke Nukem, by the way, which is a crazy game to get a kid, and FIFA 97 as my first games that I had on the PlayStation. Incredibly lucky. Now, the second year is the year that this was the most popular toy of the whole of 1999, and that was the Game Boy Color and Pokémon Red. Now, I spent the Christmas of 1999 like this for 12 hours trying to complete the game in one hit. Didn't manage it, but I spent the whole day doing that. It got to the point where my mum was like, Ash, you need to put that down now because you need to come and have dinner. My parents were pretty relaxed with me on screen time and stuff like that. I'd never really had any boundaries. Now, obviously, as millennial parents, we talk about screen time with kids today. The difference between these games and the games today is this has no in-app purchases. It's a game with like problem solving as well and complexity. And yet 12 hours was way too long to play the game, by the way. But it was the best gift. It was probably it's still my most favorite thing to play on to this day is this game, Pokemon Red, Yellow, Blue, and the Game Boy Color. It's still one of the most iconic things ever made, in my opinion. And yeah, how lucky was I in 1999 to have had that. As we entered the list from the year 2000 onwards, the first gift we actually got from the year 2000 was Surviving Y2K. And surprisingly, no airplanes fell from the sky, the supercomputer viruses did not take over the world, and obviously the world did not just blow up and die like a lot of people thought it would. That was the first gift that we had. And the year 2000 was a really iconic year for presents. And you've got a double pivot really for which was like the most popular presents of the year 2000. Now, the one which I'm going to put in at number 1 is the PlayStation 2, and that was when it was launched in the year 2000. Now, the PS2 was an iconic games console. The PS1 was great, and the PS2 was kind of like taking everything to another level, which is quite rare in games consoles, that the PS2 is as good, if not better, than the original console. Now, as we all know, the PlayStation 2 was crazy expensive when it was released, and I actually managed to get one the following year in the year 2001 because the Xbox was launched, and it actually drove down the price a little bit in that period of time. And I've done a double pivot year because of how expensive the PS2 was, and the fact that I remember going out on Christmas Day in the year 2000 because we actually used to go out and play on Christmas Day. We didn't just sit in the house. I used to go around the corner, which is where we used to go and play, and two of my friends, Lawrence and Lee, both had Razor scooters, and everywhere I went for that following week, I saw Razor scooters absolutely everywhere, and it is actually on the list as the most popular present of the year 2000, but I have to give it to the PS2 because the PS2 was just peak Christmas present, if I'm completely honest with you. That's what everyone wanted. That was the most popular. But PS2, Razor Scooter, which one did you have? We have another honorary mention for the year 2000, and that is WWE Action Figures. This is a 1999 Survivor Series signature action figure from Stone Cold Steve Austin boxed. Now, the Attitude Era in the year 2000 was probably at its peak, you could argue, and the WWE Action Figures were absolutely everywhere. The Monday Night War just took it insane. Now, not quite as popular as other presents from the year 2000, but still pretty cool and something that I'm so proud to still have. And as we enter 2001 and 2002, we have yet another double pivot year for both of these years. The reason why was the Xbox was launched into North America in 2001 and was launched to Japan and Europe in 2002, meaning it was the most popular Christmas present for those 2 years retrospectively. Now, in 2001, there's a present that I don't know too much about, but I know that my sister had them in that year because I remember her opening them and she had like 4 or 5 different ones of them. And she was just starting to get so much attitude as a young girl. And they were Bratz Dolls. Bratz Dolls were just absolutely everywhere. Not something I knew too much about personally, but I remember my little sister had them, and they were one of the most popular presents of 2001. And in 2002, for me, these are one of the most underrated toys out there. It's something that I use still in early 2000s nostalgia posts. And it's a cartoon which I think everyone thought may be the next Pokemon, but never really matched those heights. And that was Beyblades. Beyblades for me were one of the most coolest things ever. And there's a video that I saw recently where 2 people are doing Beyblades on a pan which was on fire, and it looked so cool. That's how it felt as a kid. It was just so amazing. Beyblades were the most popular present of the year 2002 with the Xbox. Some of you may or may not know this, but LEGO nearly went bankrupt in the year 2003. They brought in a new CEO, and they transformed the way that they actually partner with companies to launch their playsets. And some people see this as like the start of the transformation into transforming LEGO what it is today. Now, I'm not saying that this is the reason why LEGO is how it is today. LEGO is one of the greatest products ever made, in my opinion. My son, who's 4, is absolutely obsessed with LEGO. And he uses all of his allowance on basically buying LEGO, which I'm really happy about because he's only 4. But the Star Wars LEGO playsets launched in 2003 were the most popular gift of that year. The Attack of the Clones obviously launched in 2002, and the LEGO playsets they made that year were just special, they were different, they were magic. And it's arguably one of the reasons why LEGO is what LEGO is today. Now, this is one where I want you to comment if you ever remember this being like a really popular product, because I've got this, when I made this list and when I did the research, I was super surprised. So the number one most popular product in 2004 was the RoboSapien. Something that I'll be really, I just don't remember. I vaguely remember it from another nostalgia video, but it's not something I remember being that popular. So hit me in the comment section. Was this something that you had? Was this something that you really enjoyed? Tell me why you liked it, because it's something that I just really do not remember. Now, as we head to 2005, this is something that I do remember. It's something that I remember being crazy popular in this year, and it's something that I've used on a lot of different nostalgia videos. You're more so nearing like the mid 2000s to 2010s with the popularity of here, so it goes to a different kind of nostalgic genre. Nonetheless, still crazy popular, and that was Webkinz products. Now, my memory of Webkinz, obviously got the stuffed animals with the online codes, so it kind of gives kids almost like a digital playground for like their pets. That's my memory of it. I never had one, I've got to be really clear with you guys, but I remember it being super crazy in 2005. Now, this next product actually enabled parents and kids to almost play together. It was like a present for kids, for parents, for literally everyone. And it was a games console which was probably ahead of its time, and that was the Nintendo Wii. Now, I never had a Nintendo Wii. One of my friends who I used to go to on Christmas Day, they got one that year, and we played tennis, we played the cricket. It was absolutely insane. It was pretty infectious. And it was a console which, like I said, it was ahead of its time. If that came out today, from a VR perspective, it would be absolutely insane. So Nintendo Wii, easily the most popular product of the year 2006. In late 2006, the PlayStation 3 was launched, and it became the biggest selling product of 2007 with over 9 million units, making it the most popular product that Christmas in 2007. It did have very close competition from the Nintendo Wii and the DS, who sold between 6 and 8 million units retrospectively, but the PS3 took the top spot. Now, I was a Nintendo guy, but I'm also a Sony PlayStation guy, and the PS3 was, again, another amazing machine. It's like Sony almost nailed it with the first 3 machines, and after that, in my opinion, it did start to go downhill. But 9 million units is absolutely insane, making it the best-selling product that year. Now, we're going to go quickly through 2008 and 2009 and finish on 2010, which was an absolute beast of a year. But 2008 and 2009 are two products that I don't really remember, if I'm completely honest with you. But 2008, the best-selling product that year was allegedly the Littlest Pet Shop, and in 2009 was Zuzu Pets. I remember Zuzu Pets more so than the Littlest Pet Shop, but those were the top 2 best-selling products of that year, which are both here. We're going to finish with 2010, and the reason why I've chosen this year is because it's when the iPad was launched, and it sold 15 million units that year, which is absolutely insane. If you think 9 million units in a year sold by PlayStation was great, 15 million is an absolute obscene amount. And for me, the iPad is an amazing invention, but also an invention which has kind of destroyed a lot of kids' lives. It's something that is, you think like this is addiction, like the iPad addiction was absolutely insane. And I think people are veering away from that again now. It's not something that I'm going to be giving my kids in particular, and I've got my own reasons why, and I'm not judging you if you do, by the way. But it's, for me, the iPad and the iPhone kind of changed the world. Started in 2006 with the iPhone, obviously, kind of absolutely changed the world and changed the landscape of technology and how we consume things forever. So 2010, the iPad. Let's just run through them again. So in 1990, you had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures. 91 was a Super Soaker. 92 was a SNES. 93 was a Talkboy. 94 was a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers action figures. 95 was a PlayStation 1. 96 was Tickle Me Elmo and Nintendo 64, which was a tie. 97 Tamagotchi. 98 Furby. 99 Pokémon Red and Blue with the Game Boy Color. 2000 was a Razor Scooter, 2001 was a Bratz Dolls, 2002 Beyblades, 2003 was Lego Star Wars, 2004 was RoboSapiens, 2005 was Webkinz, 2006 was Nintendo Wii, 07 was PlayStation 3, 08 Littlest Pet Shop, 09 Zuzu Pets, and 2010 was the iPad. Now, thank you for watching this video. I want to hear from you guys. Which year for you was the best from 1990 to 2010? For me personally, the 90s and early 2000s up to like 2004 was kind of like my favorite periods, and I've already shared 97 and 99 were my two greatest years for Christmas, with how I kind of felt, the presents that we kind of got, and then just in general, the time that I got to spend with my family during that period. It kind of almost just felt like the complete Christmases. Now, as we know, Christmas isn't just about receiving presents, it's about being with your family, it's about giving presents as well, having gratitude for everything in which we have. Now, this show obviously was purely just on presents, not just about everything around gratitude, so forgive me if you think I've not shared that enough in this video. But I really want to hear from you guys, which years was your favorite years from 1990 to 2010? From your perspective, which was your favorite Christmas? Mine was 97 and 99. The two best years that I've kind of ever had as a kid. It was amazing. Wish I could relive just those two Christmases again. It would be insane. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It means the world to me. And here is to the next one.